teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. They're the ones who's coming up, and the world is in their hands. When
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, the National Report. 3 homicides just hours apart here in the capital. The Prime Minister speaks out on crime. It's Earth Day. And in sports, the boxing world loses young talent. The Bahamas tonight, the weekend edition, starts now. Good evening, I'm Jimenita Swain, and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping news, a busy morning for police who are trying to solve the latest spate of homicides on our streets. 3 men killed in separate incidents less than 12 hours apart early Saturday, and the search is on for the suspects responsible for the killings. Our news team on the scene of a homicide in Stapleton Gardens earlier today. Here's Desmond Sanders.
The tranquil community of Stapleton Gardens rocked by tragedy early Saturday morning. Police investigating the shooting death of a 49-year-old Jamaican national on Indian Street, Stapleton Gardens. Police Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Chrisling Skippings.
Information received is that a male who's believed to be in his late 40s was entering his vehicle when a small dark vehicle pulled up. It is reported that a male exited that vehicle, opened fire on the victim, hitting him multiple times to the body. He succumbed to his injuries on scene.
Police making a passionate appeal to the public to come forward with any information that can assist in capturing the suspect. Officer in charge of the South Central Division, Chief Superintendent Shazwell Hanna.
It is because of the strength of the relationship we have with the community through the National Neighborhood Watch Council and Urban Renewal and the Crime Watch Associations in Stapleton, Millennium, etc. We believe is related to why crime for the first quarter here in the South Central Division is down by 21%. We cannot do it without the community. And we believe if we continue to get the support from the community, this matter and other matters will be resolved. And, you know, detection is one thing, but we are all about prevention. And members of the community are taking steps to protect themselves from becoming victims.
Another senseless killing, another community mourns, and the crime fight continues. Desmond Saunders, the Bahamas Tonight.
Well, just hours before that Stapleton Gardens homicide, police rushed to the scene of yet another incident unfolding around 2:24 this morning near Solomon Super Center off Robinson Road. The lifeless bodies of 2 adult males ages 21 and 27, believed to be relatives, were discovered with gunshot wounds inside a parked Nissan vehicle. Director of the Criminal Investigations Department, Chief Superintendent Michael Johnson, provides this update.
Sometime shortly after 2 a.m. this morning, we received certain information in relation to gunshots in the area of Solomon's near the East West Highway. When the officers arrived on the scene, they met the body of 2 young males in a vehicle suffering from wounds that are consistent with gunshots. We are following significant leads into this matter, and we are confident that in very short order we will be able to close this matter.
The nation's leader, Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis, responding to the recent killings in the capital today and what he feels must be done to steer our young people away from a life of crime. LaDon Davis reports.
I'm distressed over all of these issues.
That's a disturbed Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Davis, responding to the latest murder involving 2 men in their early 20s found with gunshot wounds above the body in the Solomon's parking lot in the early morning hours on Saturday. Hours later, police were alerted to a 3rd murder far west near Christie Avenue in Stapleton Gardens. To curb these senseless killings, Mr. Davis says scientific data collected suggests that serious intervention methods must take place to rescue our young people from a life of crime.
One of the things that came out from our crime violence conference in Trinidad is Dr. David Allen's intervention when he spoke about the abused child being a dangerous adult. And many of persons who are perpetrating these violent crimes, they have discovered in their research was somehow or the other abused at a very young age.
And to get the intervention ball rolling, Mr. Davis informed hundreds of young people at a global leadership conference at the University of the Bahamas about the National Youth Guard program, an initiative that promotes positive ideals. But when questioned about the intent to recalibrate the minds of criminals seeking revenge on our streets, Mr. Davis said this.
If you are engaged in criminal activity, there are only two outcomes. You either spend the rest of your life in jail or you will be executed on the streets, as we're seeing.
Mr. Davis assures the public that despite grappling with the high volume of murders on our streets almost daily recently, the saturation patrols beefed up by officers of the Royal Bahamas Police Force are reaping positive results.
You would have seen over the last several weeks, we have saturation patrol that is working. You'll see in the next few weeks a number of vehicles that I've invested in to ensure that we have police presence on the street. But even though you have the presence, like I say, a person who is intentional about what they want to do and they planned it, sometimes very difficult to prevent that person from carrying out his plans. All we can do is create the atmosphere to deter them from that. Police presence is a tool, we think, to deter criminal activity.
But in the meantime, Prime Minister Davis says more resources will be granted to the police force to effectively fight crime and keep Bahamians safe. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm LaDawn Davis.
Prayers offered Friday evening for a mother and daughter murdered just a week ago. Family, friends, and loved ones holding a candlelight vigil on Edmund Moxie Park for 14-year-old Trevanika Thompson and her mother, Allison Thompson. Their decomposed bodies discovered in their apartment on Ross Corner. A male has since been charged for the double homicide. Senior pastor of Discipleship Outreach Ministries, Pastor Kevin Major, organized last night's vigil.
I was her pastor, the Trevanika, I am still her pastor. She was a part of the Urban Renewal Band, and she was also a part of the Bahamas National Drill Team. She was a very crucial, important part of our lives. We was about to travel to North Carolina in July with the Bahamas National Drill Team, and she was actually going to be my roommate. That Friday when I got the news, I already just did the room and list for us to go travel.
A solemn event where friends and loved ones offered comfort and condolences to the bereaved family. Candles also lit. Pastor of Kingdom Discipleship Center, Ambassador Devin Rule.
My first focus as an ambassador of the church is to pray for the family because it's hard right now on them to make sense of this moment. And though at the risk of sounding super deep, this is our moment to say that there is real evil in the world. There's a kingdom of light and there's a kingdom of darkness.
Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis also breaking his silence today on the allegations of rape and abuse against a sitting member of parliament by his ex-girlfriend. That's gripped headlines for several days.
It's under investigation, I'm told. Why would I comment on something that the police are investigating? I would abide and I will await the outcome of that investigation, and upon the conclusion of its investigation, then you would expect me to speak.
The Prime Minister says the law should take its course.
I have no concern about that because the police know how to do their job. And someone said, and I didn't hear the tape, but someone said that the person, the accuser, is saying they don't want to press any charges. So what the police is to do in those circumstances, I don't know.
You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition. More news in a moment.
You overpaying for low speeds with your internet provider? Stop wasting your money. Switch to BTC for the fastest internet to the most homes in the Bahamas. Get up to 300 megs fiber fast speeds, up to 3 times faster than what you get now. Plus, get 164 TV channels, all for just $42.50 a month for 12 months. That means you'll save $860 for the year. For the fastest speeds across the Bahamas and the lowest price by far, BTC is for you. Switch to the largest fiber network in the Bahamas.
Good to grow. Keeping you in the know. Keeping you in the know. God, it's good enough to eat and it's good to grow. It's good enough to eat and it's good to grow.
Birthed in the Family Islands, regattas have come to represent a quintessential cultural expression of our islands. Sailing and regatta is to the Family Islands what Junkanoo is to New Providence.
The story of the origin of regattas changes from island to island, with many bragging that their island was the first to set sail in competitive sloop sailing. See How the Main Sail Sets, a documentary depicting the history of sloop sailing here in the Bahamas, is a creative, informative video production aimed at educating the world on where it all began.
So, what made Georgetown ideal for staging a sailing race? It was the harbor. Georgetown Harbor provided one of the best protected waterfronts in Exuma, and perhaps even the entire chain of islands.
It's the best harbor. When the founders decided to put on this event, my understanding, I was still a little boy, they traveled through all the Family Islands and they determined they wanted to know where would be the best place to have this regatta. And they decided upon Elizabeth Harbor.
After the sponging industry came to an end, the boats were then used as workboats. The style of those boats were then changed to what we see today. March 26 to the 28th, 1954, was when the Out Island Regatta, led by committee leader Linton Riggs, set sail.
I was down there in 54 when Linton Riggs organized that regatta. As I remember, he came to Man of War first, you see, and then he migrated on down the Keys.
The idea was to try and support the working fleet in the Bahamas and keep a regatta going for this type of boat. But over the years, it's evolved.
And now, nearly 70 years later, sloop sailing has officially been named the national sport of the Bahamas, where it is all said to have started in Georgetown, Exuma, at the annual National Family Island Regatta. Keeping you in the know with Good to Grow, I'm Giorgio Bain.
Good enough to eat, then it's good to grow.
This moment in time, very, very exciting for me, and to know that we can have this time to look back and right now in the present see his lovely wife and children who has weathered the storms with him in getting this country where we are right now. We thank God for the legacy.
He is such an inspirational individual. He is what many may say that is a perfect representation of a true leader.
And the legacy for me that Sir Lyndon Pilgrim left was all about freedom.
For my generation, Sir Lyndon Pilgrim was everything, because without him, I wouldn't be standing here doing what I have been doing for the past 30 years.
I never look at it the same way as him as just a man.
He has given everything that he had, including his family, and definitely left a legacy behind that can never, ever be forgotten.
I love that we have a chance to just say thank you for his work.
Happy Earth Day, Bahamas. Every year, we celebrate Earth Day on April 22nd. This year, our planet needs us much more than it has ever needed us before. We encourage you from the Department of Environmental Planning and Protection to make a real investment in our Earth. Support community developments that are environmentally friendly. Participate in a beach cleanup. Help a neighbor. Our Earth needs us. The Department of Environmental Planning and Protection encourages us all Bahamians to invest in our planet. Help a neighbor this Saturday. Participate in a beach cleanup. Support one of our local environmentally friendly artisans or businesses. Our Earth is depending on us to make it better and to make us better. Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day, Bahamas, from the Department of Environmental Planning and Protection.
Shell Unleaded improves your fuel economy, giving increased miles per gallon, allowing you to do more of what you really want. Special additives used in Shell Unleaded improve your engine's efficiency. So go further with Shell Unleaded. Venture out to beaches, junkanoo, and festivals and bring home memories that will last a lifetime. Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
This portion of the news was brought to you by Sun Oil Limited Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
Thanks for staying with us. Former Director of Labor and BPSU President John Pinder is contesting current President Kingsley Ferguson for that hot seat in the upcoming union elections that must be held before September. At a press conference on Thursday, Pinder, the leader of the We Care team, says union members convinced him to offer his services because they're upset over the current operation of the union.
We want to establish a public service promotional task force. The way promotions are being done in the public service is really, it takes too long. The process takes too long and antiquated. We need a more modernized way of dealing with promotions in the public service. When I was president of the union and we wanted to move the DIT scales to, the data scale to DIT scales, we had a task force, and that was smoothly done, and that exercise didn't even take more than about 6 months. We talk about open salary scales, whereas persons meet the max of their salary scale, they can't get promoted because there's no promotional exercise taking place. There may not even be a position available, and so they find themselves frustrated because they're performing above average, getting outstanding reports, outstanding performance appraisals, but still aren't able to get their increments. We have a health plan at the union that is not as efficient as the members expect for it to be, and by extension, a number of civil servants who work in the government work side by side with other public officers who are covered with health insurance, but they are not covered, and they're exposed just the same. So we want the government to consider health insurance for all civil servants.
In other news, residents in the Montel Heights community powered with free Wi-Fi services. The launch taking place this afternoon. Member of Parliament for the Angliston community is the Honourable Glenys Hannah Martin.
We think this is an excellent initiative. I was walking through a couple of days ago in the community and I came across so many people on their porches accessing Wi-Fi. I didn't know what they were doing because I said we're doing a launch on the park for Wi-Fi, and they said, we already have Wi-Fi. I said, okay, yes, well, it is the official launch because they were accessing the Park Connect Wi-Fi. But I think the argument has already been made about the importance of having connectivity to the internet. It allows our children and young people to research. It allows the adults and others to keep abreast of news that's happening in our country and throughout the world.
Park Connect is an initiative of the Davis administration. The project started several months back with the aim of providing free Wi-Fi access to at least one park in every constituency in the Bahamas.
You have to be scrutinizing, though, because social media it's like a double-edged sword. It gives you, it can spread good information, and it can also spread misinformation. And so we have to be very, very prudent as we analyze social media. But access to the internet is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And it's also costly.
Today, globally, is being recognized as Earth Day. The event raises awareness on the importance of protecting our planet and its natural resources. In recognition of this special day, wife of the Prime Minister, Mrs. Anne-Marie Davis, planted a breadfruit tree at the Regatta site on Cat Island.
The breadfruit tree is a tree that feeds. I think it's the best tree that feeds, highly recommended by the Trees That Feed Foundation. And we now have a huge planting of breadfruit trees throughout several islands, like the Bahamas, which are prone to hurricanes and which might include some hunger at some point in time due to crises and devastations from hurricanes.
In recognition of her gesture, the Mistress Davis was presented with a plaque from event organizers. She applauded Cat Islanders for their work towards protecting the environment.
Breadfruit tree is very resilient to heavy winds. It also helps in reducing our carbon footprint. It absorbs carbon. Each breadfruit tree, I think, absorbs about 1.5 tons of carbon. A breadfruit can sustain a family of 4 for 10 years. So, you know, I'm happy that I'm planting this breadfruit tree here at this site, at the Regatta site, where it will be easily accessible to the residents of Cat Island and around New Bight area as well, and whoever visits, because you know, once you pick, once this tree starts to bear, it continues to bear for years and years.
As we said earlier, today is Earth Day, but here at home, it's also National Parks Day. To observe this day, members of the Bahamas National Trust hosted a series of activities for families at the Bonefish Pond National Park on Cowpen Road. Here's Senior Communications Officer at the BNT, Elijah Sands.
At Bonefish Pond right now, the two major activities we have going on is kayaking, which you can see behind me is going really well, and we also have snorkeling. So you have self-guided experiences where people can receive a safety briefing about how to kayak. They can get onto really nice kayaks and explore this really incredible mangrove ecosystem. We also have snorkeling going on, guided snorkel tours, where people can, again, receive a safety briefing and snorkel this incredible ecosystem. Mangroves are very important nurseries for all the marine organisms we love to see and we love to eat. So people are able to put on a mask, get underwater, and see these incredible creatures up close and personal. Everybody who comes up from the gazebo is talking about all the baby crawfish they're seeing, which is such an incredible sight for people to be able to experience.
Executive Director of the BNT, Lakeisha Roll, says more than 100 persons visited the park today, and after exploring the area were amazed at what they experienced.
We've had some first comers. We've had persons who've heard about Bonefish Pond but have never been here. And the take-home message is it's a beautiful space. They didn't even know there's an area with mangroves set aside that's protected that they're able to explore through kayaking. So it's been a great experience. I've been hearing from staff on the other islands who are also participating in National Parks Day. And the message, again, is very consistent. They love the experience. They love to be able to visit their national parks and hoping for opportunities to continue even outside of Earth Day.
As we head to the break, we'd like to thank all of our viewers watching us live on our social media platforms. And just in case you missed the news, be sure to head there to catch up. Stay with us. Sports is after the break.
Searching for insurance for your beloved senior citizen? Star General offers the Silver Medical Plan, for which you can apply up to age 85. The network includes the finest hospitals and healthcare centers worldwide. Insurance is provided through an AM Best A-rated insurer with reinsurance support through Lloyd's of London. Other features include no medical tests required, 4 deductibles, and $2 million lifetime benefits. Visit or call Star General Health and Life Insurance today.
Come on down at the Red Cross National Fair. Don't you meet me there. It's a family affair. Oh yes, it's that time again. Go tell your neighbors, tell your friend. As the children play, you can dance the night away. Yes, they got boogaloo, games and junk and so much more. So jump in your car, catch all the fun, enough for everyone. At the Red Cross National Fair. Don't you meet me there. It's the family affair. Come on down at the Red Cross National Fair. Don't you meet
Under the theme Invest in Our Planet, Earth Day is Saturday, April 22nd, and has been celebrated since 1970. Climate change is one of the most significant environmental challenges facing the world today. The greenhouse effect caused by the emission of greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide, traps heat in the atmosphere, leading to rising temperatures, melting glaciers, rising sea levels, and changes to weather patterns. Deforestation is also a significant environmental challenge that affects biodiversity, climate, and human existence. Trees play a critical role in regulating the climate by removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Deforestation, therefore, contributes to climate change, and it threatens the survival of many species. Let us therefore pledge to make a conscious effort to safeguard the environment for a more sustainable future. Happy Earth Day.
This is the super versatile Ring Stick-Up Cam. It goes indoors, outdoors, outdoors in the rain. It's got two-way talk. Hey, Eddie. Works with Alexa. Comes in tons of power options and works with Ring Alarm to start recording automatically if something's going on. Seriously? Seriously. So start protecting your home with the easy installing indoor-outdoor Stick-Up Cam by Ring.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
Welcome to your Saturday Sports, everyone. I'm Amajal Knowles. We start off this evening's sportscast on a somber note as a shining light in the local boxing scene was dimmed. This is talented boxing prospect Tyrone Oliver was shot and killed overnight. A tragic and premature ending to the life of one of the country's best young boxing talents. The 28-year-old who got his start as a member of the Strikers Boxing Club was a part of several Bahamas Boxing Federation teams that brought back home both belts and medals. Most notably for Oliver, a bronze at the 2015 Title National Boxing Championships in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Oliver most recently among a contingent of boxers from throughout the Bahamas that competed at home against their counterparts from around the region in the Bahamas Boxing Federation's second annual Wellington Sonny Boy Ramming and Leonard Boston Blackie Miller Memorial Boxing Championships last month. Oliver would take on the Cayman Islands' Adrian Roach in what was described as the fight of the night. We here at the ZNS Total Sports team would like to send our condolences to the family and friends of Tyrone Oliver. Again, he was just 28 years old. Switching gears over to Georgetown Exuma, where the 67th National Family Island Regatta is currently underway. Outside of the action on the water, this year's edition would be made especially significant as sloop sailing would be named the country's national sport, the move coming just months ahead of the country's Golden Jubilee Independence celebrations.
I want to be clear that finally taking the legislative steps to officially making sailing our national sport is going to have a real impact, because this new designation will be accompanied by a new commitment to expanding access to the sport, to make it truly inclusive. We need more scholarships to our sailing academies and more boat building apprenticeships, so more and more of our young people can compete and continue these proud traditions. As my friend Clay Sweeting says, and made it clear in Parliament, sailing has always and will always be a part of who we are as Bahamians. It is part of our national legacy, and I can't be more pleased to officially name sailing as the national sport of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. May God continue to bless us. Thank you, and may God continue to bless our country and bless sailing.
In their final game of the 2023 CONCACAF Women's U20 qualifiers in Curacao, the Bahamas would play its closest game of the tournament, but unfortunately would come up on the losing end yet again. St. Martin earned their first win of the tournament, beating the Bahamas 3-1. The Bahamas would get its lone goal from Alexis Williamson. It would be the only time that the 2-4-2 would find the back of the net for the entire tournament. St. Martin will now attempt to close out the tournament with 2 consecutive wins as they faced host nation Curaçao. As for the Bahamas, that game would be their final one for the tournament, and they would finish 0-3. Track and field news: 2 Bahamians front and center as they've been named to the prestigious Bowerman's Watch List. The award is primarily given to the best male and female track athletes in the NCAA. The pair, Texas Tech's Terrence Jones and the University of Auburn's Keyshawn Strawn. For Jones, in his first career appearance, he became the 6th male Red Raider to be named to the watch list. Only 6 other programs have had more than 7 student athletes receive the recognition. Jones has the nation's best time in the 100 meters this season and has the NCAA's 3rd fastest time in the 200 meters, drawn among 6 SEC athletes appearing on the list. In his collegiate debut, Strawn threw for 84.27 meters for a new lifetime best in the men's javelin at the 2023 Texas Relays. The 19-year-old threw the world and NCAA leading mark by over 10 meters on his 2nd attempt. He's already garnered 2 SEC Men's Freshman of the Week honors. And that's been a look at your sports on this Saturday. A check on weather when we return.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
With the help of our authorized financial institutions, or AFIs, using sand dollars is as easy as 1, 2, 3.
Step 1. Identify your preferred AFI by browsing their websites or contacting them directly. Step 2. Download the free mobile application from Google Play or the Apple Store and then register for a sand dollar account. Step 3. Load money onto your mobile app and begin sending and receiving sand dollars or purchasing and selling goods and services.
We are pleased to be
your central bank approved
digital wallet providers. It does not matter
which of us you choose.
You can pay for goods and services
wherever sand dollar is accepted.
We are all in this together.
Visit sanddollar.bs for more information.
The march was very, very good. Today we're celebrating 61 years, Doris Johnson, what she did to promote women to bring us to this stage to where we are today.
Seeing the little girls was the coolest part to me because, you know, that's our future.
I actually thought it was amazing to see so many females come on and support one another. It makes me know that, you know, we have actually grown. I know where we came from and I know we have to go further.
A woman's march, that is something that's very different, so I really liked it and I feel like it's a great turnout for being the first one.
I feel good. I'm proud to be a woman in this Bahama land.
I am so proud to be a woman in the Bahamas.
Almost every journey starts with your car. We spend most of the early stages of our lives anticipating getting our first set of wheels. When that moment finally comes, let AID be there for all your auto needs. Make it yours by accessorizing, maintaining, and repairing your car with AID. Whether you're a professional mechanic, a recent graduate, a full-time mom, or an I can fix that kind of guy, or if you're completely clueless about what your car needs, AID will assist in providing a large variety of auto parts, a diagnostic center, and great customer service. For all life's auto journeys, we're here. AID, all you really need and more.
It's time now for a check on tonight's weather forecast. Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean joins us in studio with the latest temperatures. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, Jim Anita. Just a few clouds outside of our studios this evening. Temperature at 77 degrees, a relative humidity 70%. Winds out of the south at 17 miles per hour. The barometric pressure 1,011.3 millibars. That's 29.89 inches, and the pressure is steady. Temperatures around the farming violence this evening. We pick it up 78 degrees in Marshall, Abaco, and Green Tulkey, also in Abaco. Freeport, Grand Bahama at 78 degrees. In Allenstown, Bimini, 81, 79 degrees in the Berry Island, 78 in Harbor Island. Roxanne, Eleuthera, Black Point, Exuma at 79 degrees. Also, Camp Space on Andros reporting 79 degrees. In Fresh Creek, Central Andros, 78 degrees there, 78 also in Allenstown, Cadalo, San Salvador, and Rumkey. Georgetown, Exuma at 79. We're picking up 79s again in Ragged Island, Cloudstown, Long Island, and Crooked Island. Betsy Bay, Megawana, 80 degrees, 80 in Acklands, Matthewtown, Inago, 81, and the Turks and Caicos Islands at 79 degrees. And your boating forecast tonight in the northwestern parts of our country, those winds are going to be east to southeast, switching more towards the south later on tonight. Speeds just around 10 to 15 knots, and the wave heights 2 to 4 feet. Your high tide, that will take place at 10:34 tonight. For the central and southeastern Bahamas, light and variable winds with flat sea conditions, and on Sunday in the northwestern islands, our winds become southwest to west ahead of a weak front system that's pushing through the northwest Bahamas. Wave heights 2 to 4 feet with a high tide taking place at 10:53 tomorrow morning and a low tide at 4:55 in the afternoon. In the central and southeastern islands tomorrow, no change. Those winds will remain light and variable with flat sea conditions. Satellite pictures showing that mid to upper level trough continuing to push through the northwest Bahamas, followed by that front boundary, which is across central Florida, that will slowly continue to sink towards the south and east, getting out through our areas sometime late tomorrow morning. Our forecast for tonight, not too bad here in the capital, mainly clear with a low of 71 degrees, and tomorrow it's going to be sunny and pleasant. 83 degrees for the high, and the extended weather forecast panning out like this. Not too bad tomorrow despite the passage of that front, but the clouds will thicken up as we head into Monday, and we'll perhaps see 1 or 2 spotty showers as well. As we get into Tuesday, we get even more clouds in the forecast area, showers becoming more scattered on Tuesday, and then the sun comes back on Wednesday, returning with isolated thunderstorms on Thursday of next week. Jim Anita.
Thanks, Basil. And that will end the Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition. We thank you for continuing to make ZNS your #1 news and information network, as only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. On behalf of the entire team, thanks for watching and good night.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of A&E Showcase. I'm Melissa. Now we have another exciting show for you.